Run it up, then run it back. Run it up, then run it back. Run it up, then run it back. Run it up, then run it back.
Oh, hello, and happiest of Mondays to everyone and all. Guys, we're back in studio. How are we all feeling?
Feels good. It's hot in here.
It's very warm in here. I don't actually understand why.
I'm all good.
You're good?
Yes,
Lou's
indeed.
feeling good?
Good morning.
Tea. We're ready to crush some basketball for you. Oh, look, I know that we're a little fatigued by this first topic. However, it keeps changing, moving, and the story goes on. So we're going to start with Jimmy Butler and get everyone caught up on this one. Yeah, of course, he's back with the team. He missed those 7 games with this suspension. He played. Yeah, Lou was right. He had 18 points in 33 minutes. It was a loss to the Nuggets. That was on Friday. And we did get to hear from him after this one. We'll get to the Spurs one in a second, but here's Jimmy on Friday.
There's a lot to say about everybody, except for me, to tell you the truth. So we'll let people keep talking like they know everything, like they have all the answers. And then sooner or later, the whole truth will come out. But until then, we'll continue to let people talk. And if I'm here, we'll get out there and play.
That's got some stuff to it, Lou. What does any of that mean? What does it mean for the future?
He's right. Everybody is talking but him. However, he is sending a message. He is a wizard with the messaging, down to the Michael Jordan 45 Bulls jersey, I'm back, and all of these things. Like, messages are being sent from his side and the Miami Heat side, but at the end of the day, if you're gonna be in uniform, you have an obligation to compete at the highest level and compete alongside your teammates. And that's what I saw Jimmy do. You know, everybody's gonna nitpick whether he's playing hard enough, his stat line and this and that, but he's out there, he's impacting winning since he's made those comments. You know, they're 1-1. They lost that game against the Nuggets, but they had a bounce back win on Saturday night. And I thought he played well. You know, so everybody's going to pick this thing apart, but at the end of the day, like I said, Jimmy has an obligation to continue to compete, continue to play, and there's always a divide. I need people to understand where the divide comes in. You have the front office, and then you have the locker room. 2 completely different things. So when it comes to the locker room and you're in there with your brothers, if you're not gonna lace up and compete at the highest level, just don't play at all. Jimmy has never been that type of guy, never been wired that way. So he's competed. You know, he's played, and until they figure out what's the next steps moving forward for the Miami Heat, he's gonna have to play, he's gonna have to be in uniform, and I expect him to compete at the highest level possible.
Yeah, honestly, I'm surprised he played. I thought this was over. I didn't think that he would ever play again for the Miami Heat. And even these comments afterwards, there are 2 sides to every story. So we don't know exactly what's happened with Jimmy Butler. And I look forward to the day that he tells people, so we have to stop guessing, because this is going on.
But if he tells people, won't it still just be his side?
It would be, and then I'm sure there's going to be some comments back from the franchise and Riley and Spoelstra and whoever. But yeah, at the end of the day, there are personal relationships that can get affected by decisions made or decisions not made or whatever surrounding the team. This could be something personal that we don't even know about. At the end of the day, all we can report on is him playing basketball and if he's going to play and how he does play. And he did play good. I thought he was going to play passive-aggressive and kind of go out there and almost like pout. He didn't, and I'm stoked he didn't do that, because that would have been completely unprofessional. And at the end of the day, there are 29 other teams right now that are possibly looking to trade for him, and none of this is good. This isn't good for the Heat. This isn't good for Jimmy Butler. So I don't know how it's not a distraction to them. It's a distraction for me. Like, I'm over talking about it, so I don't know how they're going to deal with this moving forward. But hopefully it just gets handled, and for the team's sake, for his sake. I just want him to move on.
Well, yesterday they played the Spurs. They beat San Antonio. He had 8 points, 7 assists. You say getting caught in it, or the drama, or going away, or being fatigued by it. Spo's in the middle of all this, right? So he's not really. He's trying to avoid basically answering any of these, because he's stuck in the middle. He's on both sides of this thing. I wouldn't want to be him. It's got to be a lot of questioning, and you're like, I can't answer this. I don't want to answer this, Chandler. But if you're Spo, how difficult is this whole situation?
It's difficult, but at the end of the day, he just has to coach who's available to play. If Jimmy's in the lineup, great. I'm going to coach him just like I was before all this drama, or last season, or whatever. So obviously there's some interference and there's some distraction here just in general with everything that's going on. But his job is his job, and he doesn't put together this team. That's Pat Riley, and that's the front office. He just has to coach who's available. And right now, Jimmy's available. When he's not available, again, it's kind of like the Joel Embiid thing in Philly. Like, it's more distracting not knowing when someone's going to play. If they're on a minute restriction, how many minutes are they going to play? How am I going to adjust my rotation? So there are certain coaching things supposed to do, but as far as the distraction, literally his job is just to coach who's available.
And Jimmy's played 30-plus minutes in both. Well, I think the first game was like 28, the second one was like 33, so that's an average of about 30, 31 minutes. If you don't think he's going to try to go out there and impact winning and try to help you win a basketball game, you're not going to play him for that extended amount of time. And watching him play, they're still playing through Jimmy Butler. Like, they were posting him up, playing out of the splits, playing out of the post. Like, this is a guy that they still believe in that can help them win games. And so until all the business stuff gets figured out, I think from the basketball standpoint, I think he goes out and competes and Spo does his job.
It is hard for him.
His legacy, too. Like, you don't want to put your name on bad play.
And again, if you're trying to get traded, that would be a bad warm-up for you to go out and show teams, listen, I'm 100%. Committed to winning unless I get upset.
If you piss me off, I'm going to suck.
And this isn't the first time he's pushed himself out. And this is, again, he knows the narrative that's being told about him. And Spo, the minute Spo doesn't play him at the end of the game or something comes up on a coaching decision, then Spo's going to get questioned. Are you doing this because it's the better for the basketball team? Are you doing this because it's personal with Jimmy Butler? So to a certain point, it's fine for Spo until something happens in game where he's then questioned of why he made that decision. So it's all just nuts. It's all a distraction.
It's so much
for the team's sake, for his sake, I just hope he gets traded at the deadline because I can't imagine he's going back there next year. So at the end of the day, they're going to lose him for nothing if they don't get rid of him.
Lou, real quick before I go to Dwayne Wade.
It's a $50 million tab, right? And if this thing doesn't go Jimmy way again, the pot of gold at the end of the rainbow is $50 million.
50.
So there is still a window there where you might see Jimmy Butler still in a Miami Heat uniform.
I would work with Chandler
next year.
for the rest of my life for $50 million.
You and I both. You and I both.
That would happen.
It ain't that bad.
It can't be that bad, guys.
It's not like that was supposed to be an insult. It turned into a compliment. So.
Chandler, whatever you need. Dwayne Wade, because now you got guys jumping in, former players, dudes with statues, that kind of thing, said this is a tragic way to end a relationship. Now I'm wondering if other teams are like, this is getting
also,
weird.
so it's ending? Like, I feel like
that's what I'm saying. That's a pretty big comment.
Well, listen. No, not really. The Miami Heat themselves have a history of how they carry things differently than everybody else in the league. Like, the Heat culture thing is real. I've never played for the Miami Heat. I can detail you what's it like to play for the Miami Heat because of the reputation they had. Besides LeBron James, what other free agents have they had signed there voluntarily? Everybody else has come over in trades. So I don't think this really shakes the tree besides what guys already know, what they've already heard about Pat Riley, and what they already know about playing in South Beach. Like, you have to hold these guys to a different standard because of the lures of South Beach, and that's what the Miami Heat have been able to do throughout
What are those lures?
It's South Beach. It's
just the water. Water and sun?
Of course not. It can be a place where you can lose your focus a little bit. You know what I mean? And so you have to put in a culture where guys can stay locked in, and because of that, I think a lot of free agents don't realistically give Miami Heat the time of day because of those things and what you're going to go through inside of the building. So what Jimmy is going through is what Jimmy is going through. Guys are going to make their own decisions. But again, sometimes from a player standpoint, that Miami Heat don't do themselves any justice as well.
It's a good point I never thought about. Like, Miami has a lot to do, and it's a fun town. It's a free agent destination. So you have to almost create this identity and this culture of business and discipline. And, it's because there is a lot of distraction out there off the court. Most of these other teams, these other cities that aren't as entertaining, don't have to deal with that off-the-court distraction stuff.
That's interesting.
So it's funny, and it's a great point that Pat Riley has to do this because Miami is one of those markets that you can really go sideways quick.
Let me ask you a question, because right now on this day, OKC seems to be the team. You can even take the Cleveland Cavaliers. Everyone seems to love playing with each other. There's a real sense of camaraderie. God, I hate saying it like that. And it looks like the culture is really, really working. If you moved one of those two teams down to the Miami area with all of the distractions, would they have to change the way they do things?
Quite possibly. You might have a different basketball team. I played in Toronto for a year, right?
Yeah.
It's a feeling when you're in Toronto that you're on the outside looking in because you're across the border. You don't have you don't have access to a lot of the things that you're used to. So with that, you create these bonds. You create that camaraderie because it's basically all you have. You don't have the access of your family being there. You don't just some of the things that everyday life that you're used to having. So if you're in Oklahoma City, there's not as much to entertain. Listen, we're going to entertain each other. Let's bring the families together. Let's have house parties. Let's have dinner. Let's do whatever we can to get this. And out of that comes camaraderie. Out of that, you build bonds with each other, and it translates on a basketball court, opposed to when, you're in South Beach and
Everyone's got their own
after
thing.
you're done, everybody's gone. And
Gotcha.
listen, I see you guys back in the morning.
At OKC, that's the only show in town, right? So that's also a huge home court advantage because everyone's going there. It's exciting. It's lit in that arena, and there's nothing to do besides to cheer and support these guys. In Miami, there's something going on every night. There's a concert. There's this party. There's this club opening. There's this restaurant. Miami Heat are like an afterthought. The Thunder, that's a huge advantage to be the focal point of the entire city.
It's interesting. I wonder if that culture in South Beach is going to change somehow. Guys, let's talk Celtics, because I don't know what to tell you. Lost to the Hawks on Saturday. Second time now Atlanta's beaten this team. They're 8-8 in their last 16. We know they started the season hot at 21-5. But 34% of their threes are going down in the last 16-game span. Still the betting favorite. I'll put that out there. But, Lou, should they be?
No, I think they're fine. And again, we got to remember, this team is the measuring stick. These are your NBA champions. So every single night, they don't get an opportunity to take a night off like they would like to. And again, you're looking at a team that's working on things. I think they're defensive. They're not motivated on the defensive end. They're giving away a lot of points. Like they just played the Atlanta Hawks team that they allow 4 guys to be in double figures, high double figures at that. Damn near 4 guys almost having 20 points in that game. Like they have to have that defensive responsibility back. That has to be what's the core of this team. And I think they've lost that a little bit, but that happens when, like I said, you're a championship team. You know what it takes to get there. And when you go through these lulls in the season, sometimes you can kind of take your foot off the gas when other teams are coming in town. They're not taking their foot off the gas because, again, they're trying to see where they are in the pecking order. If we can compete with the Boston Celtics, then we may not be as far off of a championship team as we think we are. So when they compete and they play against these type of teams, that's the effort they're going to get. So being 500 in the last 16 games is not as alarming because, again, these guys are stuck in the second place. They had a 6-game lead over the next team, being the New York Knicks, I believe, that's sitting at the 3rd spot. But other than that, the Boston Celtics aren't going nowhere, and they're still going to be a tough out. I don't see anybody beating them in the first round anyway.
Yeah, sometimes I think you just get caught up in the process and going through the motions when you've had so much success. Exactly. You get a little boredom. You let your guard down. Think about it. They're 8-8 over their last 16. They've struggled after starting 21-5, and they're still the favorite in Vegas odds to win it all. So, like, that's how much the world trusts them. And when you watch them, they're still a top 5 offense. They're still I think they're number 6 defense with all the kind of the hiccups they've had. They're still the team that I trust the most in the NBA. They're still the favorite to win it all, and they're not playing even good right now. It's like the Chiefs in the NFL. They kind of looked awful all year long. They still finished like 14-3 and are going to the,
He's wearing Chiefs sweats for anybody who's
I'm just saying,
now.
like, it's still
literally.
But at the end of the day, when they have like a bad loss in the middle of the season, I don't care because I trust them when it matters. I trust them when it comes down to playoff time, and they have the experience, they have the talent, they are top 5 in offense and defense, so they can beat you even when they don't score a lot of points. Their bench has always been a concern, but Peyton Pritchard's been unbelievable all year long. I think he's run away 6th man of the year.
It's the threes. The fact that if they start missing as a team, those
they
threes,
shoot a lot. They shoot a lot, and sometimes I think that is kind of their Achilles heel, where they've settled too much. They take quick threes when they're too good offensively. But again, I trust them more than any other team in the NBA still after this last 16-game stretch.
I'm scared to say I don't because I obviously was wrong last season, but I don't.
But when you watch them, do you see like a glaring hole? I don't think.
Not a hole, but I see other teams that could be better.
But look at your personnel. You got very mature, responsible vets on that team. Everybody goes through adversity through the season. This is not going to be perfect, but again, we're ringing an alarm for a team that's stuck in 2nd place. They aren't going anywhere. They're going to get to 1st before they go to 3rd. you know? So they're still in the position to be very successful. And again, when you win a championship, you feel like you have that button. You have that next level that you can tap into and get this thing back on track. We're talking about shooting the basketball. Making shots is going to come and go. They got to get back to a identity where they're a defensive-minded team where they can sit down and lock up teams. And that's going to be difficult when you're getting everybody's best punch night in and night out. They got to sit back down and play some defense.
I find this next quote interesting only because of who said it. Kristaps Porzingis said they're playing with no spirit, with no personality. Kind of interesting because he has not been available for a lot of the season. And that's it. And by the way, I'm not even trying to be snarky. Like, it's an interesting person to make the quote.
It was funny to me because I was like, well, you be hurt all the time.
Yeah, like you've played like 18 games. But is that a fair statement? Forget who said it. Does the statement work.
Yeah, because I think sometimes they know we're more talented than the team that we're going to face, but sometimes they have a let-up. And half the battle in the NBA is just playing hard. You see teams go out there and they compete, they put themselves in a chance to win. So I do think sometimes you get bored with the process, you get kind of numb to just going through the motions, and the Celtics are a product of that, where they've had so much success, they are so good, they can beat you in so many different ways, where sometimes they just take their foot off the gas. Now, the messenger is a little weird here because he's kind of in and out of the lineup, but again, he's a critical piece of this team moving forward. I know the record's is, you know, whatever with him in the lineup. It's kind of like the Lakers thing with those.
He's 10-8 when he's in the lineup.
And it's like the Lakers. Are the Lakers better without LeBron James? Like, no. Like, it's plus minus. Like, the Celtics are a better team with Porzingis. They need Porzingis.
Are they? Because Al Horford also gets to do some good things.
He can still play. And again, they need depth. They need more bodies available. When there's an injury, when there's foul trouble, and when there's anything, they need all hands on deck. But their starting five is so good. Even without it, I still like him the most.
It's an interesting quote. Plus, I love Al Horford, so I feel like
love Al Horford.
I'm being torn here
Hater
on
boy.
this one. Guys, we got to talk Sixers. I don't know why, but they lost to the Bucks. It's their 6th straight loss. They are 15-26 at their halfway point. Embiid's played in 13 of the 41 games so far. He's missed the last 8. Of course, he will be reevaluated again in another week, so we're not even sure when he might be back. He's got swelling in the knee. This is a bad stretch, by the way. They are 11th in the East. Look at their schedule coming up.
Yikes.
Chandler, do some quick math here. Where are they after this stretch? Dear Lord.
Struggling.
By the way, none of those are gimmies at this point for this team, right?
And all those teams are trying to win, and they're playing for seedings. And again, this is that time of the season where it's a little stagnant, where it's all-star break, and you can either fracture, you can go completely south, or you can come together, you can rally, and you can try and move up in the standings. And it's tough when it's the same story for Philly. Injuries are a constant problem. Joel hasn't been himself, hasn't been playing. They already lost McCain. Now, how many guys can they figure out the right rotations, and then do they have enough to tread water? And I don't think they do. I credit Joel Embiid for trying to play and trying to do the right things, but I've said this since day one of the show. The dude's not right. He's not healthy. They need to shut him down because this isn't something that is just going to magically fix. And when you look at the setup of their pick, it's a top 7 pick.
Yep.
It goes to the, guess who? The Oklahoma City Thunder if they don't start tanking and losing some games. So I've said it all season long. I don't think they have enough with Joel in and out of the lineup to compete. I don't think they're a playoff contending team without him. And he's not going to be healthy this season. So I think it's shut it down still, and I've said that for 2 months.
I mean, that stretch, Luke, coming up, Luke, they are the worst team of all the teams we're showing. Like, they have the worst record. Chicago would be the next one up, 18-25. I almost feel like a jerk asking about the upcoming schedule because they're the bad team if you look at it. So, yeah, why not start tanking?
You can't do it. You can't do it. You sold this fan base on championship aspirations to start this season, right? We just got out of a process. We're not signing up for another process.
Another one.
Think about how long that was. You are inside of the process. This is the result.
We need another process.
Yeah, this is the result of the process. So you can't start that clock over. And you got to think 2 out of 3 of your superstars on this team are in the 4th quarter of their careers. You don't have time to waste. You don't have years to waste with these guys. Like, you have to go out and give yourself an opportunity to compete. And again, small sample size. This season, you brought Paul George in to be that third punch to be a championship aspirating team to give the Boston Celtics a challenge for that crown. So you can't go halfway through it and say, well, we're going to tank and try to keep our pick. That pick is not going to impact winning immediately right now out of that draft. So if you're the Philadelphia 76ers, you got to see this thing through. I'm sorry to say, you got to see it through. You got to compete at the highest level that you can with the guys that you have available, and you got to give yourself a shot because, again, you sold us on a dream. And now that it's not going your way, we can't back out of it and say, you know what, we're going to rest everybody and we're going to tank. And especially if you're these young guys, some of these guys are trying to make a name for themselves. My man that just came over from France, this is his 2nd opportunity in the NBA. He has to play at a high level to make sure he's solidified in his I don't know why they have Paul George in a dunker, by the way. I don't know why I said that, but it just annoys me to see him in a dunker when he plays, when he's available. Like, why do you have him playing a 5? You got to put this team, this team has to compete at a level where it's satisfactory to the fans because you've already sold them on tanking before in this last decade.
Just came up with an idea. I just came up with an idea.
Oh, boy.
It's probably not doable, but it's still an idea that I just had. What if you could secretly somehow poll the fans, especially season ticket holders? without anyone finding out about it and being like, are you cool if we tank? Just to see what the vibe is.
I'm telling you, as a matter of fact, the fans do not want to tank right now.
But aren't you just
delaying
the inevitable here?
Yes.
And it's not best for the team in this next season to go forward. It's like right now, this season's pretty much a wash, I think. Look at their team. They're 27th in points. They're bottom in team in defense. They play slow. They are not a good basketball team this year.
They're not.
And a lot of that has to do with injuries because this team was built to be healthy and to win a championship. They're not, and they're not getting healthy either. They lose the Rookie of the Year already.
But at least TikTok came back for him.
He's dancing
so he
on
will be able
TikTok.
to
He's
get to
off
do
crutches,
that.
so he's back. But I'm just saying it's a tough situation, like Lou's saying, when you have all these hopes going into this season.
Yeah.
And you do have a hell of a team on paper. We're at the halfway point, though, and they're an awful team.
I'm with Chandler.
They're an awful team.
Not going to happen.
Let me ask you guys this. Usually when you tank, usually when you tank, you have young talent that you would like to evaluate.
Sure.
They have veterans on this bench.
I know,
They got vet guys coming on this bench. Like, you're not going to discover anything different on your bench that you don't know that you have. All of these guys that are coming off are certified veterans, and Eric Gordon, Kelly Oubre. These are household names. So who are you evaluating? Even if you sit Paul George and Embiid, you still have guys that are going to go out there and give you an opportunity to win basketball games. Unfortunately, they're falling short, but they don't even have the personnel to tank.
Spot.
Think about this, though. So you were talking about how vet this team is, right, with those guys. If they win games or in this tournament, look, 76ers pick goes to OKC if it's between 7 and 30. So they have to be really bad. Or you're already talking about how their team is aging. They have vet guys.
Yeah.
At least go and get you a top 6 pick and salvage something out of this season. Get Joel Embiid healthy for next year. Get Paul George healthy for next year. And then you run this team back with a top 6 pick. Now we're in business.
Look, I'm not a doctor, but every time you put Joel Embiid out there with all the current injuries that his body currently has,
not right.
Aren't you just making the other parts of his body work harder, overcompensate, and then those get hurt? Like, this is going to be a never-ending cycle of an injury without him getting good.
If it's going to be a never-ending cycle, we don't have time to waste. We got to try to win games right now.
I just
and every night that we lace up.
They can't, though, Lou. They can't. That's the product
They
they're
need a
putting out there.
miracle.
They can't win games.
I'm agreeing with you, but again, who are you going to put on the floor that's going to give you the best chance of tanking?
They are really in a bad spot.
Not Paul George, not Maxey, not McCain,
And by the way,
not Embiid.
I feel for Maxey.
Let the chips fall as they may after that.
That's where I feel the most. I'm like, I feel for Maxey, because when he is out there, he gives it his all, and for what? For what?
It's just tough, too, because they're probably thinking, dang, if we can just get healthy, we can figure it. But that's just a huge if, and I don't trust that if is going to happen this year. So why waste it? Sure, this season, throw it away, it sucks. Don't let that linger on the next season.
Poll the fans secretly.
Poll.
I think they'll be in for another process. We are going to take a quick break. When we come back, the Lakers making their first trip to the Intuit Dome. Oh, you guys are going to love it when we return.
Run it back, yeah. Run it up, run it back, run it up.
Well, the Lakers and the Clippers. I wonder what they thought about it. Clippers win. First visit for the Lakers there. It's just crazy. James Harden, 21. Norman Powell, 22. Zubats with 21. And LeBron with 25. They are 4-1 when Kawhi plays, guys. 19 points, averaging 21 over his last 2 games. I don't want to jinx this. If they get this kind of production, however, what are their odds of getting to the Western Conference Finals and facing the Thunder, Lou?
Listen, as unpredictable as the West is, anybody has an opportunity to be a wedding crasher and give the Thunder a run for their money. I like the way that they're playing, but if the playoffs started right now, their matchup would be the Denver Nuggets. And we know that the struggles that the Clippers have had playing against the Denver Nuggets. But again, you're looking at a different team when you have a healthy Kawhi Leonard, when you have James Harden playing at the level he's playing, All-Star and Norm Powell coming up this year. These guys they're finding their groove at the right time. I think they can give anybody a run for their money if they can stay healthy. Yeah,
this team has depth, and just having Kawhi Leonard out there is just a breath of fresh air. It's a guy you trust. It's a guy you can go to. You can put the ball in his hands in his shot clock. And we just talked about in the commercial break, Norman Powell's their best player. Like he is their bucket getter. James Harden's stats all around are better with distributing the ball, rebound. He's having a great year too, but the play of Norman Powell, the depth of this team, getting Kawhi Leonard back, you know what you're going to get from Zubac at down low. So this team is balanced. They're deep. They defend. And again, having Kawhi Leonard at least giving you something. It's like Milwaukee with Chris Middleton. Just having him on the floor just gives the guys confidence, gives them hope, makes them a better basketball team. So Do I think they're going to make the Western Conference Finals? No, I don't. But I think they've had a hell of a year so far, and I think they're going to continue to get better. And they do. They have a little bit of everything.
It's not crazy that they make the Western Conference Finals.
Well,
it's crazy. If they go to the Western Conference Finals, I'll be like, damn, that is crazy.
You got to start from somewhere. Their first matchup, if it started today, would be the Denver Nuggets.
And I don't think they beat them in a series.
Okay, but it may not be the Nuggets. Look how jumbled up this whole big mess is.
I'm just saying.
Yeah, but we're jumping to the Western Conference Finals like.
We're also just giving it to the Thunder. Just their Thunder is just going to get there.
We are, yes, for the sake of this argument, we are definitely doing that. No, I think the Norman, like, what happened when we were like, oh, Kawhi's out indefinitely? It was just like, well, there goes the Clippers season. 100%. And the fact that they're sitting there, it's not, no offense to James Harden, he's obviously a part of it. But the Norman Powell part, I think it's interesting because the All-Star votes and everything's about to come to an end here, and it's like,
well, I think they got a great mix. Yep. James Harden has turned into the playmaker. Kawhi Leonard is going to be that guy that's going to make big shots. You're going to be able to give him the ball in the half-court positions and what he brings to the table defensively. And then you have Norman Powell, who's the guy that can just go out there and get you a bucket. Like, it looks like they finally have found the rhythm for the guys that they expect to be the big-time guys for him, and everybody's doing their part.
And he said it at the beginning of the season. He said addition by subtraction. He was always in the sixth man of the year talks. He was always a rotation player. Now they've kind of given him the ball, put the ball in his hands, let him be who he is as a scorer. And it's paying off. Dude's averaging 24 points a game. He's efficient. He's kind of their closer. You can play on pick and roll. He can get out in transition. He makes tough shots. So it's crazy because he's probably been this his whole career, right? He's just now getting more opportunity. He's learning how to play within the system. Him and James Harden are great together.
He gets to shine.
So it's crazy. If you had to pick one All-Star, it would be interesting because if they're staying that 4, 5, 6 range, they deserve one. And do you go with the more balanced stat sheet with James? Or do you reward a guy like Norman Powell who's a less of a name, but like honestly deserves it just as much?
Can't really lose on that one, I suppose. This was the Lakers' first game there.
Norman Powell, you could lose.
Yeah, well, yeah, you could lose, but you may not
Norman
even
Powell,
you
had the hell of your career year, best year, and you still don't make it. I'd be shitty.
Again,
I've seen that story before.
Look at the worst. I'm wondering, because if you haven't been in the Intuit Dome, you are going to love it. But this is the Lakers' first time there, and so obviously now with the Clippers having their own building. I mean, Lou, you loved the Intuit Dome when you saw it. Does it make it feel, if you're a Clipper and Clippers fans, does it make it feel now because you have your own place and you're not sharing, that this could be a rivalry?
Yeah, I mean, it's a real thing already, but now that they have their home, now you have that separation of my home court, your home court. You don't feel like the little brother in the building. This is
got a nicer
good.
House.
Yeah, this is good for the future, and I love everything that Steve Ballmer has been able to build. If you're a Los Angeles Clippers fan, like, you can't go to a playground in this city without seeing representation from the Los Angeles Clippers, right? And so those type of things, that creates that brewing energy that you need for a great rivalry, and it ends at the Intuit Dome. Like, that's a beautiful building to play basketball in. Now that they have a home, they have a place that they can fly their flag proudly and make the Los Angeles Lakers come in there and be in the actual visitors' locker room.
Right.
Make their family and their friends buy tickets like you would have to do when you came to the Staples Center. So this is good. This is good for the rivalry, but it's great for the Clippers to have their own home, and it can be an official thing.
Wait, have you seen the opposing locker room? Is it amazing too? Like
everything is amazing.
Okay, I figured it's fine.
It's a great building for everybody involved.
Just the separation, to me, just gives them an edge. Like Lou said, they don't know. The Staples Center, that was the Lakers arena.
Yeah.
The fact that the Clippers were playing in there, it was always just a weird dynamic, especially when you go to play each other in the regular season. But yeah, when you have an owner that rich, like you deserve your own stadium. You deserve nicer things. And by the way, I haven't been yet, but I heard it's incredible.
How have you not been?
Even last night, you hear there's Clipper chants. They got a student section of adult men, which is also crazy. The wall.
And
it works.
The
wall works.
Men.
But it is a real home court advantage now. It's never felt like that with Staples.
Who would you rather, like right now, you guys are in the league, you get to pick, Lakers, Clippers. Who's picking what? Lou? I mean, you're obviously.
Yeah, I've played for both.
To play for one?
Yeah, you got to pick one. Which team would you rather be?
The Lakers. Would you rather be on the Mets or the Yankees?
Right now?
Yeah.
Depends on where you are.
It's Lakers all day long. It's a Lakers town.
What I will tell you is the experiences are different, but my personality, personally, I enjoy playing for the Clippers.
I could see this.
I love playing for the Lakers, but my personal experience was better with the Clippers.
Would you rather play on the Angels and the Dodgers too?
It'd be different.
Those are different. Those
Angels
are
will
way
probably give me
different.
Angels will probably give me
Chandler.
$800 million, and the Dodgers will probably tell me, well, we got 450, and hey, we're the Dodgers.
And you defer it, but you also have every other player in the world on your roster. And by the way, that's
and
not
you'll win.
That's not comparable because the Clippers are better than the Lakers right now.
Oh, currently.
So the Angels are
Last
garbage.
decade.
You can't put them
Historically,
in the same. No, we're not. It's a baseball show, ladies and gentlemen. We don't have one here, do we? This is now also a baseball show. That man has a family time. Let's do it. Zion, you know what? We don't know how many of these we're going to get, so we're going to enjoy them all.
Hey,
thank you very much.
we love it.
Drew Banks.
It's
don't get
crazy
enough
that
of
we
these,
talk
like,
about him being unhealthy, and then you see something like this, and you're like, it's not unhealthy.
Exactly.
It looks fantastic.
That's why I don't want to get. I'm not going to get too excited. I'm going to love it. I'm just going to love it quietly.
Drew Eubanks, take a charge.
His name is Drew Banks. We call him Drew Banks.
Drew
you
Banks.
mix the two. And
That's what I
this
like.
was a fun game.
Stay
This was a
away
fun
from
game.
that three-point line. This is what I like right here. Yeah.
I loved the video of him talking to Walt Frazier before the game. Something about that just made my heart smile. It's just like
And
classic.
Edwards is back up above the rim. Ja Morant's back above the rim. This is what we love to see.
Remember when John
my.
Morant said he's not going to dunk anymore, and then had the sickest
Got the greatest
non-counting
dunk of
all
history.
time?
Oh, NBA.
Hey.
Wait, what?
See, you're already too low. You're already in the half circle. Just
Okay.
swipe and get out
I
of the
mean,
way.
it's only right he got dunked on. He turned the ball over. At least he challenged it.
My dumb brain goes, that guy looks like Spencer Dinwiddie.
Well, nailed it.
Man, I still got it. Giannis.
Oh.
Oh, don't fall. No falling. You don't
Just
want
looks
anybody
so
hurt.
easy for him.
It does.
Look at
It should be. Look at him.
Big body.
Lord.
He's
I just dunk on people all day.
it's crazy. Oh, that's what he does.
Walking. No, but I mean like in the office, like just walking around dunking.
Just bodying
Being
everybody.
a jerk to everyone that I'm around.
What?
Clint
Oh,
Capella.
a lot of
well,
left in today's saggy.
This seems a little unfair as well.
Yeah, Cornette.
He tried.
Cornette, know your game. Know your
Oh,
game.
this is a fun one coming up because we haven't gotten a lot of these, so let's enjoy this one as well.
Okay. Yeah, Kawhi.
Oopsie.
I missed it.
Oopsie daisy.
Put him
Well,
down.
watch Mr. Reeves.
Hey.
That's nice.
Do you like that one?
I feel like he fell, but yeah, it's nice.
You think he fell or fouled?
No, I think he just fell.
Oh,
I
he
love the
tripped.
fadeaway out of bounds.
Crossed
The
him.
last time I seen him fade out of bounds, it led to a championship. Just saying. Just saying.
Sabonis on Sar.
Oh. Come here, young fella.
Yeah, you got no scouting report, Rook. Make him go right.
Fella, take this.
Make him go right.
Can't let him go middle. Can't let him go middle. And where was nail help?
You guys
Where was the
should-
nail help?
I don't know about that one.
Oh, man.
All right. Guys, when we come back, we're going to do a little prop party action. This time I know we're going to nail. Have we been keeping track?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm up.
Yeah.
This can't be true.
No, we're up.
We'll be right back. Actually, let's figure
You're
it
in
out.
third place.
Today is MLK Day, so we honor and we also get a lot of day hoops. We're going to start with Timberwolves at Grizzlies. That one's at 2:30 today. 2:30 o'clock is what I almost said. Most exciting players in the game basically squaring off. Ja versus Ant. Chandler, my God, you can only watch one play. Who are you picking?
So it is Anthony Edwards. He has my heart. It's tough, and they're so exciting. They're so explosive.
He has
they
your
are.
heart.
Yeah,
Has your
he
heart.
can do no wrong in my eyes.
Wow.
They both are so much fun. I think that the Timberwolves, the kind of slow start they're having, has kind of altered that a little bit. John Morant and the Memphis Grizzlies, they've been healthy. They've been dominating all year long. They're currently in the 3 seed. So I think it's a team that kind of started off the season well versus a team that has not started the season well. Both these guys fun, but Anthony Edwards, to me, he's the guy. He's the most fun guy to watch in the NBA, in my
That's
opinion.
a tough one, Lou.
It is tough. I'm actually sitting here thinking about my answer, and
Yeah.
I came up with something very diplomatic, and I was like, I like both of these
Oh,
guys.
come on.
But
Boo.
if I'm gonna make if I'm gonna make a decision, it would have
Starbucks, I'm available.
It would have to be Anthony Edwards. That was a crazy plug right now.
That we don't
I
even
didn't know the
have.
camera was going to come back.
We need mugs. We're getting
That was
mugs.
a crazy plug. But if I had to pick one of these guys, I just enjoy the way Anthony Edwards
Okay.
is maturing, how his game is evolving. You know, he's getting a lot of flack for the amount of three-pointers he's shooting, but I'm going to continue to say that. I think he's just trying to add to his bag. Still a 22-year-old guy in this league trying to find his way. He's just adding pieces to his game, so I'm enjoying the evolution of Ant-Man.
Both
Yeah,
of these
he was
guys.
tough the first part of the Knicks game. He was having trouble, and then he figured it out.
Both of these guys are guys like I would buy a ticket and go see. Like
For
they are must watch, must see TV.
Yeah, this is you really can't lose on either of those choices. So Ja missed Friday's game against the Spurs. So now he's no longer eligible for any of the awards this season. He's missed now significant time in the last 4 seasons. We know all that. But the question, Lou, is we're looking long-term here. He's obviously an amazing player to watch. But if you're the Memphis Grizzlies, can you count on his availability to build?
Absolutely. I mean, look at the team struggles they had in his absence, opposed to when he's in uniform. You know, as soon as he's back in uniform, this team automatically becomes a contender again just by his presence and the way that he goes about business on the basketball floor. When he was out of the lineup, you know, they were one of the bottom tier teams in the league, and we didn't talk about him very much. Now that he's back in the fold of things, they're one of the best teams in the West. Now, granted, he has a history of injuries, but also look at the way that he plays. Look at the injuries that he got. It's not like he's out there, he's by himself, hurting himself. Like, he's out there giving 110%, and with that comes a little contact, and it's cost him some games here and there. But other than that, he's been a very durable player. So, yeah, I think he's still somebody that you can build around.
Yeah, this was a team that was extremely banged up last year, but we kept saying when they get him back, it's going to make all the world of the difference, and it is. And Scottie Pippen's been great in his absence even this year.
Junior.
Scottie Pippen Jr. has been great, but I agree with the
in-season
stuff, the significant time to not play, or the minimum game.
Minimum games played.
65,
I like that. Same thing goes. You have to be available. You have to be playing in the majority of the games to get. But does that mean you can't make the All-Star game, or you can still make the All-Star?
No,
game?
you can't. You just can't get the awards.
Got it.
Yeah.
I like that. You have to play.
But I don't even know what awards we would have looked to. I mean, I guess all whatever.
All
but
NBA.
yeah, you can't get any of that stuff. By the way, the Scotty spelled with a Y situation, and it turns out Senior also was spelled with a Y, but we always did it with IE, and it just stuck. Is one of the weirder stories I've ever heard.
I didn't know either.
Learned that recently, by the way.
It's definitely been IE this whole time.
It has been, but if you ask him, it's with a Y.
You can't change.
He just never corrected it.
It's definitely IE.
Well, it's IE now. If you didn't correct it for 40 years.
But is that not crazy?
That
It's
is
a crazy
crazy.
story. Amin Al-Hassan has a great story about it, and it blew my mind because it was like, all right, so since December 31st, the T-Wolves have had 7 clutch games, which is basically 5 minutes left within 5 points. So in those 7, they had 20 minutes of clutch time, and Julius Randle played in 5 of them and had 8 total minutes. Now, he's already being pulled in some close games. We have the Ant quote last week about the starting lineup not being great, and he is the difference. Lineup change coming, and if so, wow, Chandler.
Yeah, it's not. I didn't think it happened this quick,
Wow.
right? But again, when you look on paper and you look at the sample that they've given us, and they're 22-20, I think the team expected much more. The fan base expected much more. And I do think just offensively, it does clog up the paint a little bit. It eliminates a lot of space for Anthony Edwards, which you see him all year long settling for more threes and more threes. So Naz Reid's also a guy that's there who could kind of change that. So they do have an option they can do. I think it's too early. I don't think Julius Randle is a bench player. I think he's a bona fide starter in this league, clearly. But maybe that's the switch up that this team needs. Having the success they had last year, having the big change, the big trade, they got to do something because they're too good to be 2 games over 500 right now. They're too good. And I think that could be a drastic change that can kind of motivate them and get them going. But
T-Wolves Twitter has
it's a bold move.
returning.
It's a bold move. I don't know. If I'm Chris Finch, I wouldn't want to do that.
You hate to see it just because he seems like a likable dude, but it's just not
He
it.
is, but this is basketball.
I know.
This is basketball, and you got to put yourself in the best position to win basketball games. And sometimes with the style of play, Julius Randle can clog up that middle sometimes. And when you have personnel that needs those lanes, you got to figure out ways to win basketball games. And in the fourth quarter, they figured that, maybe Julius Randle isn't the best guy to have on the floor in those winning times, in those clutch minutes. And we need more of a team that's going to play a 5-out style where we can create driving lanes, drive and kick basketball, opposed to somebody who's going to be ball dominant or somebody who needs to post up. It's just not going to work out.
Do you maybe go small and bring Gobert off the bench?
No, because that's your former defensive player of the year, and he's your rim protector.
Yeah. I don't know. There's got to be a decision made, though, because I feel like, again, they should be a lot better.
They've made it.
The only change is Julius Randle.
They've made it.
You see,
Exactly.
they have
That's
6.
why the quote was rough. It's like, who's he talking about?
Right. Got a little dicey there.
Yeah, it got a little weird. Again, day games all day long. Must see Hawks at the Garden. That one is going to be epic.
I don't like what the NBA did here.
What are you talking about?
Go ahead, I'll let you finish.
Wait a minute. Are you about to say something smart? You're about to say something real smart. I know what you're going to do. Trae Young, yes, loves the Garden. It is his happy, happy place. So, Lou, it's going to continue, right?
NBA, y'all sold us out. Why is this game at the Garden on Martin Luther King Day, MLK Day, when this is a traditional Atlanta game.
Okay.
This is something that we celebrate in the state of Georgia, in the city of Atlanta. Why is this game in New York City? Because of ratings and because of this rivalry that's been created in Trae Young. So what do I expect from him in the Garden tonight? A lot of trash talking. I think Trae Young plays at 100% tonight. This is a game that he looks forward to. This is one of those that he circles on his calendar.
For real.
He enjoys this game. He enjoys being a villain. And hey, this is his Gotham City. This is his Gotham City. He's the Joker when he pulls up in New York City. He's going to love this game. I got Trae Young for a big night tonight.
Yeah, there's certain players that like this, and there's certain players that don't like it. He is definitely one that likes it. He's going to get up for this game. He's going to be uber aggressive. And, again, he knows what this is. He knows New York City, and they're going to be all over him. I expect him to have a big game tonight as well and be super aggressive and go
He may pull out the logo threes tonight.
He's going to have so many things.
He may pull out the logo threes.
The question will be, will all the Knicks also be great? I mean, look, these are huge games. This is a whole day of this. But the Hawks have had some pretty epic, very high-quality wins. 6-1 against Cavs, Celtics, Knicks so far. I wouldn't want to face them in the play at all, Chandler.
And you know, just as a team in that locker room, you have the confidence that you know you are capable of beating every single team. And when you now playoff seedings and standings and who you're matched up with, they're not one of these teams that are ducking a matchup because they've already beaten every team above them. So that gives them just the confidence moving forward. That gives them no matter what, no matter who they play, we know we have enough in this locker room to go out there and beat anybody. We've already proven it. So now when the playoffs come, can we do it 4 times? Can we be consistent? Can we stick to the game plan? Can we show maturity and experience and growth in this team that's super talented, super deep? They are young at the end of the day, but they have enough to beat everybody. Clearly, they've done it already.
You want to do a little prop party? I do have some Pippen confirmation on the other side. I'll get you. But prop party here. Atlanta, New York, duh. Chandler kind of cheated by getting it first.
I'm sticking with the Trae Young. I think he's going to go over 24.5 points. I hope he takes 20-plus shots. And I like the Hawks. 6.5 points is a lot of points.
It's a lot.
Like we just said, this team is capable of beating anybody, anywhere. Hawks plus 6.5.
But, Lou, can we get a specific on Trae points?
29.
Okay, there it is.
It's going to be the specific. Tonight, my picks, I'm staying with the Atlanta Hawks. I got the money line on those guys, and I got Jalen Johnson over 17.5. I'll give him 22 to be specific. And it's something about this music. I can't wait till I hear this music out in the wild somewhere.
In the wild.
Think about you guys when I hear it out in the wild.
God, now I kind of want to just play it somewhere. You know what? I'm going to go Knicks friendly on mine. I have Brunson over on the points because and the Knicks money line.
What happens when the Knicks play the Spurs? What do you do?
It was Christmas. I went to the game. I rooted for the Spurs, but
That's
I did it quietly because we were courtside and I didn't want to get thrown out. Confirmation on the Pippen story. This is how it goes. He was actually Scott, S-C-O-T, on draft day, and everyone started spelling it with an I-E. But fun fact, Amin El-Hassan handed him his phone to put his number in there when they worked together, and Scottie Pippen, Sr., put it in the number S-C-O-T-T-Y, to which Amin was like, what? It's been Y the whole time. He just never corrected it.
Wow.
And that, my friends, is mind-blowing.
He let us call him Scotty with an IE all this time. I'm going to call him Scotty with an IE.
It blows.
Like cards and everything? Was it?
Everything. It's on everything.
That's strange.
It's crazy. Anywho, break time. We'll be back. More Run It Back on the other side.
Run it back, run it up, then run it back.
Let's go. Fill the lane. Oh. All right, guys, I got some topics here. So, Lou, you're up first. Eastern Conference player, this is hard for me to say, that was the breakout star of the first half. Who you got?
I can make a case for Tyler Hero, but I'm gonna stick with my Atlanta Hawks guys. I'm gonna go with Jalen Johnson. Just the fact that didn't have a lot of expectations coming into this season, being in the All-Star conversation, that's a change right there. So I'm gonna go with my guy Jalen Johnson. I like the way that he's been going about business, competing at a level that a lot of people didn't have on their bingo cards from him, as far as expectation levels go. So give me Jalen Johnson.
He's a household name now.
He is.
If you're paying attention.
Earned, by the way.
I got to go Tyler Hero. There's all the distractions, everything with Miami, Jimmy Butler out again. It's another addition by subtraction situation where he stayed focused. He's been their best player by far. He's an all-star lock, by the way, Tyler Hero.
Lock.
Averaging 24, 5, and 6. Like, the dude's putting up numbers. He's efficient. He's an absolute bucket. Obviously, I knew he was talented. I knew he was going to be very good. But the fact that he's shown this maturity and this consistency already with the whole Jimmy shit going on, I love it. Sorry
We're
about my language.
Why are you doing
It just comes
this?
out naturally. It just comes out naturally.
I swear on everything. Chandler, if you don't mind having a potty mouth on this next one, Western Conference player breakout star of the first half.
Norman
Nice.
Pow.
All right.
This dude's again. He's most of a bench player for the first half of his career. He's now given into this role without no Paul George, Kawhi Leonard out. He's now given the keys. He's found a way to play with James Harden. He's putting up career numbers. He's also probably an all-star. Like, I don't think he's as much lock as Tyler Hero is, but they deserve to get one, and it's him or James Harden. I think it should be him. I think we should reward guys like this that are having career years and not just vote based on someone's name.
Which is what we do. Lou, what do you think? You got one?
I would say Sengun.
Okay.
Yeah, last year he was considered the B guy to Jalen.
Yep.
Now he's the A guy to Jalen's B. Like, those roles have changed, and it's earned. This guy has been hooping out of his mind this year, playing at the highest. I don't know why Chandler got my laptop.
You have a whole computer in front of you, like a whole
my thing
computer.
won't pop up.
But yeah, I like what Sengun has been able to do, and that'll probably lead you into your next question.
Oh, thank you. And that is the
You're
Segui. Most surprising Western Conference storyline of the first half.
I'm going to stay in Houston.
I like it.
I'm going to stay in Houston. They've been one of those breakout teams that we knew they were going to be successful. We knew they had a young core. They had really good coaching in Ime Udoka. We didn't see them being the #2 seed in the Western Conference Finals and been consistent throughout this year and what they've been able to do in the West.
Are you well?
We're getting to the end of the show. Chandler likes to ask people, are they well?
This all I see is this.
I just logged onto a Zoom on accident. Just get me to the finish line here.
Okay. Lou, if you, or Chandler, whoever.
What's the question?
Western Conference
The
storyline.
surprise to me, it's the Timberwolves. I hate to beat a dead horse here, but the fact that they had so much going for them, they make this trade, and now they're struggling, and they're just not as good of a team as they once were.
I was trying to be positive
last year.
You always
But
do.
that, to me, that's surprising. I thought they were going to be a top 3, top 4 team, and they're just not. So, to me, I got to go with the Timberwolves.
All right. How about in the East? Do you have a storyline?
It's the Cavs. I mean, they make a change. They have the same team.
By the way, it can be good or bad.
They are. This one's gonna be good. They're healthy, and last year I think they won a lot of games, and when they were healthy, they were really good last year. They found a way this year to be surprisingly healthy. The whole narrative that Donovan Mitchell and Darius Garland don't like each other, that's all just in the past. They're 35-6. They're on pace for a historic season. It's got to be the Cavs.
All right, that's a good one. Do you have a good or a bad one, Lou?
I like the Cavs as well. Yeah.
We're sharing a computer.
And a brain. All right, good to know. This is awesome.
I mean, a surprise to me would be the Philadelphia.
Okay.
You know, I expected a lot from them. Everybody expected a lot from them due to the injuries and everything, and they didn't do themselves any favors with the narratives, with starting the season off with saying Joel Embiid wasn't going to play in back-to-backs, and now here you are, we're dealing with a train wreck, and it's still going. And so I think that'd be one of the more surprising things.
I find this one interesting because it's a player in the East who has the most pressure coming up in the second half.
Player in the we said it's Joel Embiid, I guess. Like, does he have the most pressure to play? And at this point, I don't
even
think
feel
there's
that.
that much, because I think the dude is clearly hurt. We can look back no further than the summer in the Olympics. He hasn't been himself for a really long time.
Right.
But still, when you have that type of team, when you have that type of organization and pressure, the city and expectations, with that, there comes pressure, and the team is going to win and lose based on his presence and his availability, and he hasn't been available. So I do think there's pressure, but also he's not going to just get right, so it's tough.
Yeah, it almost feels like there's not.
Well, for me, it's going to be Donovan Mitchell.
Okay.
Yeah, coming out of the All-Star break, we got to know if these guys are the real deal. Like, are they the real deal? They've been able to play and be sustainable throughout the first half of this season. Coming out of that All-Star break, are you guys still hungry? Are you still willing to do what's necessary to stay at the top of the hill?
I think I love today because I'm going to get to be lazy, and then I can blame it on sports. Basketball all day long, ladies and gentlemen.
day.
Also, Lou recommendation, the Jerry Springer doc.
Yeah.
We'll talk to you guys tomorrow. Gordon Hayward. Boom.
Run it back, run it up, run it back, yeah.